said, you know, 70 is 70. She said, Judy, 70 is the new 50, and it's just a number.
You know 70 is 70, she said once, almost dismissively. But behind that simple statement lay a story far more complex than anyone could imagine. For the public, she was the courthouse queen. The woman who commanded authority with a glare and a gavel, the figure whose television presence had become a household staple. She projected strength, wisdom, and an unyielding sense of justice. Yet, behind the camera lights, behind the carefully staged courtroom drama, there was chaos, controversy, and whispered secrets that few dared to explore. Allegations of age discrimination began circulating quietly. Former staff members claimed she fired employees simply for getting older, while others alleged her show carefully avoided certain litigants to maintain a particular image. In a workplace where more than 20 employees fled in just 5 years, tension simmered beneath the surface. Public fascination collided with private turmoil. Then came 2020. The world watched as she seemingly disappeared, with tabloids publishing false claims about brain disease and erratic behavior. But she did not remain silent. She fought back with a $5 million lawsuit to reclaim her reputation. And in 2025, when she returned on streaming platforms, the revelation of her transformation stunned audiences. The truth about Judith Susan Blume, the woman known to millions as Judge Judy, was far more disturbing and compelling than anyone had imagined. This story is not just about a television personality. It is about a woman who rose from the crowded streets of Brooklyn during a time of hardship, navigated a male-dominated legal system, and fought relentlessly to uphold justice, often at great personal cost. The story of Judy Sheindlin is one of resilience, courage, and a steadfast refusal to bow to societal expectations. Judith Susan Blume was born on October 21, 1942, in Brooklyn, New York, during a world still engulfed in the chaos of World War II. Her parents, Murray and Ethel Blume, were ordinary people who faced extraordinary challenges. Murray worked as a dentist, trying to sustain a small practice, while Ethel held a clerical job, balancing the household and nurturing her young daughter. Brooklyn in the 1940s was a city of contrasts, vibrant yet overcrowded, bustling yet strained under post-war pressures. Families struggled to secure adequate housing. In 1946, over 100,000 families across New York City waited for decent apartments. Inflation had soared to 14% in 1947, while food remained rationed and the economy was anything but stable. Money was tight for the Blumes, and Ethel often sewed clothes from fabric scraps just to keep the family afloat. When Judy was barely a year old, her father left home to serve in the military in 1943. Ethel, now alone, managed a toddler during blackouts, rationing, and air raid sirens that punctuated the city's uncertain nights. Even as a 1-year-old, Judy experienced the strain of ration stamps, limited to 48 points a month for canned goods. By the time her father returned in 1945, the household had changed. Murray, like millions of veterans, returned with his own burdens, leaving the family dynamic, tense, and unpredictable. Divorce rates across the country had risen nearly 50%, a stark reflection of the pressures families endured. Despite these challenges, Judy displayed remarkable resilience. By age 4, she was organizing games and managing other children in her neighborhood, learning early on to take charge and navigate complex social dynamics. The world around her was harsh and demanding, and she grew up fast, not by choice, but by necessity. In 1955, at age 13, Judy overheard a family secret that would leave a lasting impression. Her grandfather, Murray's father, had been a bootlegger during the Great Depression. In 1932, he had smuggled liquor across Brooklyn to survive, hiding bottles under floorboards and even using dental supply routes to avoid suspicion. The family narrowly escaped police raids that captured hundreds of others. For Judy, this revelation was both shocking and fascinating. Rather than casting judgment, she developed a curiosity about the world of law, crime, and justice, a curiosity that would shape the rest of her life. The discovery of her grandfather's hidden past ignited a spark in young Judy. She devoured books on criminals, famous trials and court cases, including the landmark 1931 trial of Al Capone. What emerged was not merely an interest in avoiding trouble, it was a desire to understand, control, and perhaps prevent it. By learning about justice and human behavior, she felt she could influence outcomes, protect the vulnerable, and hold wrongdoers accountable. Entering James Madison High School in Brooklyn in 1956 at the age of 14, Judy quickly distinguished herself not by grades, which hovered around a 2.5 GPA, but through her presence and voice. She joined the debate club, soon racking up 5 regional victories by 1959, demonstrating an ability to argue persuasively and think critically under pressure. But her teenage years were not without conflict. She staged protests against outdated school policies, leading walkouts over dress codes that banned girls from wearing pants and cafeteria strikes over poor food quality. Teachers were baffled by her assertiveness. Classmates often tried to sway her, but she refused to join gangs or follow rules she did not believe in. Judy's early activism reflected a deep commitment to fairness and a refusal to accept injustice quietly, a trait that would define her legal career. By 1960, the civil rights movement was gaining momentum, and Judy left Brooklyn to study government at American University in Washington, D.C. campus. Life was restrictive for women. Strict curfews, limitations on clothing, and constant oversight threatened independence. But Judy resisted conformity. She joined the Pi Sigma Alpha Honor Society, challenged male professors on women's rights, and refused to remain silent in the face of inequality. Even as most women were expected to pursue secretarial or domestic roles, Judy pursued what she deemed fair and just. After graduating from American University in 1963, Judy returned to New York to attend New York Law School. At the time, women made up less than 5% of law students nationwide. The environment was challenging. Professors were dismissive. Male classmates doubted her abilities, and subtle hostility pervaded every lecture hall. Undeterred, Judy juggled part-time work as a legal secretary. It was during this time that she stumbled upon evidence of corporate fraud, falsified financial documents that could have gone unnoticed. The experience cemented her belief that the law was not just a career, but a tool for meaningful change. In 1965, she graduated with her JD and passed the New York bar exam on her first attempt, a significant accomplishment in a field still heavily dominated by men. Despite this, Judy faced multiple rejections from law firms, some without explanation. She invoked Title VII, using early civil rights protections to assert her right to work, displaying the assertiveness and legal acumen that would later define her judicial career. By 1972, after leaving corporate law to raise her children Jaime and Adam, a friend informed her of an opening in New York City's family court system. Judy seized the opportunity, diving headfirst into cases that exposed the harsh realities of child abuse, domestic violence, and juvenile crime. Over the next 5 years, she handled thousands of cases, witnessing firsthand the challenges of a broken system. Judy's first breakthrough case involved a powerful businessman accused of neglecting his child. Most prosecutors hesitated, wary of wealth and influence, but Judy refused to back down. Her victory sent a clear message: justice was not for sale. Anonymous threats followed, but she pressed on, demonstrating a fearless commitment to fairness and accountability. Her early work in family court showcased her distinctive style, direct, unyielding, and effective. She exposed falsified foster care records, challenged bureaucratic inefficiency, and pushed for reforms that reduced repeat offenses. Her reputation as a no-nonsense advocate for children and justice began to grow, earning respect from those who valued integrity and frustration from those resistant to change. By 1978, she was appointed to lead a task force on juvenile delinquency, a high-profile assignment that exposed corruption in youth detention facilities. One administrator profiting from youth detention was convicted and fined, while others were dismissed. Within 2 years, recidivism in her jurisdiction dropped by 15%. Her work brought attention to systemic failures, often at personal and professional cost, solidifying her legacy as a reformer. In 1982, Judy was appointed as a judge in the Bronx Family Court. overseeing an unprecedented caseload of over 150 cases per week. Her courtroom became a fast-paced environment where truth and justice mattered more than appearances. Defense attorneys labeled her a monster, but Judy remained steadfast. She confronted parents exploiting welfare systems, investigated fraudulent foster arrangements, and navigated cases of extreme abuse with unwavering focus. Her willingness to challenge norms brought her into frequent conflict with colleagues, social workers, and even other judges. Yet these conflicts only cemented her public reputation. A high-profile case in 1990 involving a negligent father earned her national attention. She sentenced him to community service at a homeless shelter, teaching empathy rather than simply punishing. By then, she had ruled on over 20,000 cases, witnessing humanity at both its worst and most vulnerable. Despite professional successes, Judy's personal life remained intertwined with her career. Her marriage to Judy Sheindlin faced challenges, including a temporary separation, yet she continued to pursue reform and justice with unrelenting intensity. Judy's personal life was complex. Her first marriage to Ronald Levy ended in divorce in 1976 after 12 years. A year later, she married Judy Sheindlin, a relationship that endured ups and downs, including a brief separation. While managing family dynamics, she maintained focus on her career, balancing intense professional responsibilities with raising her children. Even as her reputation grew nationally, she remained grounded in the values instilled during childhood: resilience, responsibility, and an uncompromising sense of justice. Personal challenges, rather than weakening her, strengthened her resolve and shaped the woman millions would come to know as Judge Judy. By 1990, the Los Angeles Times had introduced Judy to the country. Her courtroom style, emphasizing accountability and empathy, became a model for judicial engagement. Cases were not just legal exercises. They were lessons in responsibility, fairness, and human behavior. Over decades, she exposed systemic flaws, protected children from abusive environments, and reduced recidivism. Behind the scenes, however, she navigated lawsuits, staff conflicts, and media scrutiny. Her 2020 disappearance sparked rumors and false narratives, which she countered through legal action. Her 2025 streaming comeback revealed a transformation that defied expectations, showing a woman both human and unyielding, a figure whose life and work continue to inspire. She once said, "70 is just a number." Beyond the literal meaning, it encapsulated her philosophy. Life is defined not by age or circumstance, but by courage, determination, and commitment to justice. Judith Susan Bloom's story is one of struggle, defiance, and relentless pursuit of what is right. From the crowded streets of Brooklyn to the national stage, she shaped a legacy that transcends television fame, leaving an indelible mark on the legal system and on the countless lives she touched. By the late 1980s, Judy Sheindlin's reputation as a no-nonsense family court judge had reached the attention of television producers. They saw a woman who commanded authority with both toughness and integrity, someone who could bring real courtroom drama into living rooms across America. In 1996, she launched Judge Judy, a show that would go on to redefine televised court proceedings. The concept was simple, yet revolutionary. Real litigants, real cases, and a judge whose reputation for fairness and decisiveness preceded her. From day one, Judy's presence was magnetic. Viewers were drawn to her sharp wit, unflinching scrutiny, and the clarity with which she delivered justice. Unlike other courtroom shows of the time, which often dramatized cases for entertainment, Judy insisted on authenticity. The cases were real, the outcomes mattered, and she would not compromise her principles for ratings. Behind the scenes, however, the show was a different challenge. Staff members had to adapt to her high standards, exacting pace and no-nonsense directives. Some thrived under her leadership, appreciating her dedication and focus. Others found it overwhelming. There were conflicts, resignations, and whispered complaints, reflecting the intensity of working under a woman who demanded excellence. Yet the public loved her. Ratings soared, and her style became iconic. She delivered justice with a unique combination of sternness, humor, and common sense. Judges and legal commentators alike noted how her show educated the public about courtroom procedures, family law, and the consequences of personal decisions. By the early 2000s, Judge Judy had become a household name, a cultural touchstone, and one of the highest-paid personalities in television. Success, however, came with scrutiny. Over the years, allegations surfaced about age discrimination and workplace practices. Former staff members claimed that employees were let go for being too old or not meeting the image Judy's show projected. Lawsuits and complaints painted a picture of tension behind the scenes, contradicting the public's perception of her as a strictly fair-minded figure. Beyond employment disputes, tabloid rumors flourished. In 2020, speculation about her health and mental state ran rampant. False stories claimed she suffered from cognitive decline or neurological issues. These sensational claims were designed to attract attention but threatened to tarnish her carefully cultivated reputation. Despite the media frenzy, Judy did not remain passive. She pursued legal action against false claims, asserting both her dignity and her right to privacy. Critics also questioned the ethics of televising real-life disputes. Could the show's format exploit vulnerable litigants for entertainment? Judy maintained that her show offered justice, education, and resolution, not spectacle. She frequently reminded audiences that the participants' issues were genuine and that her rulings were legally binding, reinforcing her credibility while balancing the demands of television production. The year 2020 marked a turning point. With her absence from the public eye, rumors proliferated. Many assumed she had retired permanently, while others speculated about declining health. Instead, Judy launched a $5 million lawsuit to combat false claims, protect her reputation, and reaffirm her public identity. The legal battle was high-profile, a reminder that even the most prominent figures are vulnerable to misinformation. Her perseverance paid off. By 2025, she returned to the spotlight with a streaming platform comeback, a modern adaptation of her courtroom format. Fans and critics alike were surprised, not only by her return, but by the depth of her transformation. Far from the tabloid caricatures, Judy demonstrated resilience, vitality, and continued sharpness. Her comeback served as a statement. Age, rumor, or public scrutiny could not diminish her dedication to justice or her ability to engage audiences. The streaming era introduced new challenges, including global viewership and digital expectations. Yet Judy adapted with characteristic determination. She preserved the authenticity that had defined her television career while embracing new technology, proving her relevance in a changing media landscape. The world now saw not just Judge Judy, but a figure who had navigated decades of legal, social, and personal trials with unbroken focus. Beyond television, Judy Sheindlin's influence on the legal system was profound. Her early work in family court and juvenile justice had already set a precedent, but her public persona amplified her impact. Viewers gained insight into court proceedings, the challenges of child custody cases, and the realities of family law. By exposing inefficiencies and advocating for systemic reform, she encouraged public dialogue on justice and accountability. Her initiatives in juvenile justice, foster care oversight, and child protection were widely recognized. Programs inspired by her cases reduced recidivism, ensured proper reporting of abuse, and demanded accountability from social workers and administrators. She became a bridge between the legal community and the public, demonstrating how transparency and rigor could transform perceptions of the court system. Judy's work underscored a simple yet powerful idea. Fairness and strict adherence to law could coexist with compassion and education. Young lawyers, policymakers, and even casual viewers absorbed lessons from her rulings, further amplifying her influence beyond the courtroom or television set. Over the decades, Judy Sheindlin received numerous awards for both her legal work and her contributions to media. She became a symbol of female empowerment in a traditionally male-dominated field, demonstrating that authority, intelligence, and integrity could command respect. Television awards, lifetime achievement honors, and legal accolades punctuated her career. But her true legacy lay in the lives she touched. Children saved from neglect, families held accountable, and the public educated about justice. Her cultural impact is equally significant. Judge Judy became a recognizable brand, a shorthand for fairness, decisiveness, and practical wisdom. Yet beyond the fame and money, her influence shaped public understanding of law, morality, and human behavior. She proved that a person could be both stern and compassionate, unyielding yet fair, and that persistence, courage, and clarity could overcome systemic obstacles. Judy once said, "70 is just a number." Her life exemplifies the philosophy behind that statement. From a childhood shaped by war, rationing, and early responsibility to navigating the challenges of law school, family court, and national fame, she never wavered from her principles. She faced adversity, criticism, and controversy with determination and integrity. Her story is a testament to resilience, intelligence, and the pursuit of justice. Judith Susan Bloom, known to millions as Judge Judy, transformed both the courtroom and public perception of law. Her journey reminds us that true influence is measured not by power, wealth, or fame, but by courage, consistency, and the ability to effect meaningful change. Through decades of work, public scrutiny, and personal challenge, she remains a symbol of justice and strength, inspiring generations to stand firm, speak clearly, and never compromise their values. Judy Sheindlin's influence extended far beyond the courtroom or the television screen. By the late 1990s and early 2000s, Judge Judy had become a cultural phenomenon. Her sharp one-liners, piercing glances, and unmistakable authority were mimicked, quoted, and shared across countless media platforms. From comedy sketches to viral internet memes, she became an archetype of the no-nonsense judge, a symbol of justice delivered with clarity and confidence. Her impact on popular culture also inspired a generation of courtroom shows. Programs sought to emulate her format: real cases, real litigants, and a judge whose authority and personality carried the narrative. But no one matched the authenticity and credibility she brought. Fans across generations could quote her sayings as easily as they followed the latest headline, reflecting her integration into the collective consciousness. Through her television presence, Judy helped reshape public perception of law and justice. Viewers learned that courtroom procedures mattered, that accountability was not abstract, and that fairness could coexist with firmness. Even casual audiences absorbed lessons about human behavior, consequences, and responsibility. Her cultural footprint was vast, not merely as entertainment, but as a subtle educator, making the law accessible and relevant to everyday life. At the heart of Judy's success was a personal philosophy rooted in fairness, decisiveness, and practicality. She believed that justice was not about theatrics, wealth, or influence. It was about clarity, truth, and accountability. This philosophy guided every decision she made, whether in a Bronx family court or in front of millions on television. Her work ethic was legendary. She approached each case with meticulous preparation, reviewing details, documents, and testimonies long before stepping into the courtroom. Colleagues and staff often marveled at her discipline, long hours, attention to nuance, and the ability to synthesize complex information under pressure. Judy's consistency reinforced her credibility, ensuring that every ruling was deliberate and every public appearance reflected integrity. This commitment extended to her television career as well. She insisted that cases be real, that judgments be legally sound, and that litigants' rights be respected. While other shows sometimes exaggerated drama for ratings, Judy remained steadfast, believing that authenticity was non-negotiable. Her philosophy was simple: respect the law, respect the people involved, and never compromise principles for popularity. Judy Sheindlin also understood the power of influence beyond her courtroom or studio. Over the years, she became a mentor and role model for young lawyers, especially women entering a field historically dominated by men. Through interviews, public speeches, and personal interactions, she emphasized discipline, ethical practice, and the importance of standing up for what is right. Her encouragement went beyond inspiration. She highlighted the challenges that young legal professionals would face, from bias and skepticism to societal expectations, and offered practical guidance on navigating them. Many who entered family law, juvenile justice, or media-based legal careers credit Judy for shaping their approach to both professionalism and public service. Her mentorship reinforced her legacy, ensuring that her impact would continue through the next generation. By emphasizing integrity, resilience, and education, she nurtured a network of lawyers and media professionals who not only admired her, but actively applied her principles in their own careers. While the public saw the stern, no-nonsense Judge Judy behind the scenes, she was a combination of discipline, humor, and unwavering attention to detail. Production staff recalled her punctuality, her insistence on fairness for every litigant, and her ability to diffuse tense situations with a carefully timed remark. She had rituals before each show, reviewing every case, rehearsing her approach, and visualizing the flow of proceedings. These preparations allowed her to handle unexpected developments with grace and authority, ensuring that each episode maintained credibility. Staff also noted her sharp memory, her ability to recall details from prior cases, and her commitment to justice above entertainment. Conflicts occasionally arose, but Judy managed them with a balance of firmness and practicality. She expected excellence but rewarded dedication. While some staff found her intensity daunting, many appreciated her honesty, clarity, and unwavering focus on the mission of the show. These behind-the-scenes dynamics revealed a woman deeply committed to her principles, balancing public persona with personal rigor. As she entered her later years, Judy often reflected on aging, relevance, and the legacy she would leave behind. She frequently reminded audiences and herself that age was merely a number. Experience, wisdom, and resilience mattered far more. Her 2025 comeback was proof of that philosophy, defying stereotypes about aging, proving that competence and authority do not diminish with years. Judy's reflections extended to her professional and personal achievements. She measured success not by fame or fortune, but by the tangible impact she had on lives, children protected from abuse, families guided toward accountability, and young professionals inspired to pursue law with integrity. She viewed her legacy as a combination of practical results and the values she instilled in those around her. Ultimately, she wanted to be remembered as someone who stood for fairness, refused to compromise principles, and worked tirelessly to make the law accessible and just. Her journey from a crowded Brooklyn childhood through a challenging legal system to becoming a national icon is a testament to resilience, discipline, and an unwavering belief in justice. Her story remains an inspiration, a reminder that courage, focus, and integrity can transcend any obstacle, leaving a lasting impact on society. Beyond her courtroom and television fame, Judy Sheindlin dedicated a significant portion of her life to philanthropy and social causes. She consistently leveraged her influence and resources to address issues she cared deeply about, particularly children's rights and domestic violence prevention. Foundations and programs she supported focused on giving vulnerable populations a voice and tangible support. She contributed to educational initiatives, emphasizing the importance of access to quality schooling and mentorship programs. Her advocacy extended to survivors of abuse, both young and adult, providing resources and public awareness campaigns to highlight their struggles. Through donations, public appearances, and active involvement, Judy ensured her platform extended beyond entertainment. She wanted tangible change, not just symbolic gestures. Her philanthropic work reflected the same principles she upheld in her professional life: fairness, responsibility, and action. Judy demonstrated that influence carried obligations, and she used her fame to shine a spotlight on causes often overlooked. In doing so, she created a legacy not just of legal reform and media presence, but of compassion and societal contribution. Judy's impact was not confined to the United States. As Judge Judy became a global phenomenon, she received international recognition for her unique approach to justice and media. Television networks across the world broadcast her show, introducing audiences to her combination of stern authority and practical wisdom. Fans in Europe, Asia, and Latin America admired her clarity, decisiveness, and dedication to truth. She appeared at international forums and events, sharing insights on the intersections of law, media, and public education. Awards and honors came from foreign organizations recognizing her contribution to legal awareness and cultural influence. Her approach reshaped perceptions of the judiciary abroad, demonstrating that justice could be both accessible and uncompromising. This global presence also inspired international legal professionals and media producers. Many sought to replicate her format, aiming to educate the public while maintaining ethical standards. Judy became more than a